Welcome back to Sip and Shade TV, where we sip slow and shade responsibly. Now let's get into this mess. So y'all, the church lady is back with an update. And baby, it's getting messier. She's now claiming while she was giving Junior a bath, she saw some things that didn't sit right with her at all. Like, what in the world did you see? And allegedly, the things she saw, that's what made her pick up the phone and start calling CPS. Like, wait, it was that serious? You bathing him, peeping all this, and the next thing you do is calling them people? Now everybody looking sideways. Like, what exactly did she see? That's exactly why. You gotta keep people out your damn business. Now this is really about to have the internet going wow. And they are really starting to think that Junior is being neglected. Now yes, we already know he's supposed to be walking by now. But what else did that lady really see that had her so shook? She ended up calling CPS on Chrisean. She allegedly said his lower area seemed concerning, unresponsive. The doctor did mention what type of hernia it was. Now, whatever happened after that, I don't know. But she did leave the hospital to go film a music video with Lil Mabu. Doing all that damn crying just to leave him in the hospital by himself. The church lady says she called CPS and told them everything that was going on, claiming she had receipts, but nothing ever came of it. However, she did end up getting kicked out of that church, though.
Against Ronnie.
I think that's Charles Barkley, baby.
But I don't want to talk about other people's kids.
So it ain't your baby.
Nigga number 3, go get that DNA test, nigga. You see that shit, bro? Tell me what that say.
I can't, nigga.
It says,
You want me to read it out loud?
Blueface is not the father.
My question is, lady, did you get close enough to Chrisean and Chrisean Jr. just to bash them? Like, what was your real reason behind this? I don't get it. Did you just volunteer at a church just to do this?
Why'd you post the hernia?
Took too long.
So the other day, I saw this girl calling the Steve Wilkos show, Chrisean, Rock, and Blueface. And she got the recording when you call our show, and she was leaving a message. And she was like, you got to have him on your show. And I responded to the comment, I don't know who these people are. And I've never left a comment on anything where I got just unbelievable response. I told my wife about it, and she gave it to one of our producers who I guess is working on it, trying to get these people. And it's still just blowing up. I should probably Google it and look it up, but I think it's insane. Maybe somebody out there can explain to me what the hell is going on with this Chrisean and Blueface. I have no idea, but...
She even stated that she's been threatened several times and also attacked. Y'all, let's check it out.
So, I am the lady that spoke out about the Chrisean Rock situation. I get treatments and everything. I've been in and out the hospital since then. I have been threatened. I have been attacked. I have been demonized. It has been very, very hard for me to deal with all of this stuff. I have been told that I would have charges pressed against me for sharing any further of the documentation and images and stuff, things that I have, because they said that was relative to child porn. I have had officers reach out to me and everything else, and it's not in reference to Save Junior. I've had my documentation proven, my story corroborated, and everything else, and I'm still being attacked, being scrutinized. It's people close to me that I haven't even, shared a lot of things with. If they knew and they was very, very close and they knew directly. Other than that, we didn't talk. I didn't go around just telling people and everything because, again, I did not want this to be something to gain clout from. I wanted to use a platform to be a voice for a nonverbal, special needs, beautiful child. And I've been attacked and demonized for something that I keep on looking to the side because I'm waiting on my nurse to come in for my home. It doesn't matter. I'm dealing with some things and I just keep looking because I'm waiting to see when she's going to come in. I have been ridiculed. I've had rock tards sit up and I mean, just all kind of things. Why would y'all want to sit up and call the police on me and say that I'm releasing footage that violates the consent of a child and all of this stuff? I would never want to do that. I was only saying something because I wanted to be a voice because nothing else was being done. I use my platform to tell my testimony. I do commentary. I could have been gained clout if that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get clout for the right reasons. I wanted to get clout at my own discretion, for my own testimony. I wanted to be uplifted for my own things. I have something to say. I have a purpose for being here. I can help, my voice can help a lot of children, advocate for a lot of troubled teens, battered women, and children who are being abused. It is not my interest to gain clout from the demise of a child being attacked inside of his mother's womb. I do not want to get clout from a child being stuck and trapped inside himself, and we are his only voice. Who wants to gain traction and clout from a child who has been abused? What sick people? And the reason why y'all sit up there and do that is because that's something that y'all would do. You accuse people of what you would do if you were in that situation. Why does everybody think that they want to gain clout off of this girl? And this girl has been gaining clout off of being detrimental, off of being demonic, off of being violent, off of being chaotic, off of attacking her child inside of her womb. This girl has gained clout from bullying other people that worship God. When she humiliated Vicky, excuse me, when she humiliated Vicky, my blood pressure has been 220 over 115. Y'all keep on saying, why am I telling the internet? Why I didn't do this? I did do something. I have called CPS. The police was contacted. Did y'all watch it or y'all just watch the clip? I barely got a voice. I've been traumatized. I've been crying. I've been defending myself all over social media as to why I've ever said anything. And I never, ever exposed anything that I have. When I was sitting up there doing commentary on the things that I was saying, I never exposed why I was so passionate about it. Other than people knew that I went to the same church. I visited the same church. Other than that, I never, ever, ever sit up there and disclose anything else. And for y'all to sit up there and accuse people that have the best interest of this little boy at heart, you wrong. I speak about the plight of Black women to encourage, because in our community, we have the worst unaliving, the worst femicide, the worst sexual abuse rates. We have the worst DV rates. More than the worst HIV infection cases. Even inside of marriages and relationships, those numbers quadruple. I'm not a victim. I didn't give my testimony because I want sympathy. I'm a survivor. And there's plenty of people that couldn't even go through half of what I went through and survive with their whole mind, body, and soul still intact. I'm going through this being a voice and advocating, even with being confined to a couch, hospital beds, medical beds, treatments, being a full-time mother, a single mother. My kids' stepdad, my son's biological father, was unalived within a week of each other. 2 years ago. They still going through a lot. I don't want my kids to be exposed to this. I don't want to bring another drama, another demonic forces and energy and negativity into my life, into my doorstep. My kids are healed and healing still. We have a whole lot to heal from. I have a whole lot I can gain clout from. Even with my illness, I still got the shape that I can do what everybody, I could get like Chrisean and shake my behind, release inappropriate videos, exploit myself fighting. Who wants to do that? I don't want recognition for the wrong thing. I don't want to be a representation, an example, or an influence of the wrong thing. No, I'm not perfect. Nobody is perfect. We're not required to be perfect by God. We are required to seek perfection. The translation is spiritual maturity and awareness, spiritual enlightenment. I've been through, everybody keep talking about we don't like her. I had so much love for her. I was able to identify with Chrisean Rock. I went through twice as much as she has. I don't use my past as an excuse or a crutch to go and be demonic and evil towards anybody. I don't use that as the reason to validate me attacking life inside of my womb that I'm responsible for, that I'm obligated to love and nurture and pour into, not pour Hennessy into, not abuse, not humiliate, not exploit my innocent babies. I have a special needs daughter. She had multiple blood transfusions. She was born on a laundromat for 4 months early. She was 1 pound, 0 ounces. People close to me know this. People close to me know that I survived a brutal sexual assault by my stepdaddy. People know that really know me, they know me. I come to be a light, to be a voice, to advocate. It ain't about her. It's about him. Somebody come forth to be brave and love and want to pour into somebody. And y'all want to attack them? Y'all wrong. And the people that are her fans, you subconsciously know that she's no good. That's why y'all keep coming here. Because why do you got to continuously defend somebody that's standing for what's right? She's demonic. She manipulates you and exploits the Lord. You have trashy discernment. So Chrisean just said that her son is not disabled. And you don't have to accept a diagnosis from a doctor or any of that. Anybody that speaks anything over your child, you do not have to accept that. So she's not saying that the doctor didn't tell her that he has a disability. She's saying, and I'm smiling because I'm really want to say a pack of MFers and a pack of B words and a pack of go upside her head. But I'm going to refrain. It's called discipline, spiritual discipline. Even though we just seen that she's always saying the B word and everything else, calling people outside their names and all that, with her super duper Christian turbo behind. But anywho, Chrisean said that her child is not disabled. So she said that she doesn't have to accept the diagnosis that the doctor gives. If she believes in God and she got a revelation from God, then why would she be faking milestones? Why did she need to lie and say, my son walking, my son talking, my son eats? Why would you need to fake a milestone or anything like that and lie and keep going on record and propping him up and faking like he's doing all of these things if you believe in God? Furthermore, you said that he doesn't have a disability, but you got a revelation from God. So if you really got a revelation from God, then you can say, shout to the rooftops that he has a disability and everything else, because you know that God is faithful and he's going to deliver him. Correct? You wouldn't have to deny anything. But the reason why she distanced herself from his disabilities and his issues, and everybody said, well, how do you know that that's caused from her drinking? That's how you know that it was his disabilities is caused from her drinking and smoking and doing herbs and all of that, because if it didn't, she wouldn't lie and say he didn't have any disabilities. Because if they were natural and they were genetic disabilities and they were caused by genetic mutations, then she would embrace it, acknowledge it, and everything. It would be nothing for her to accept. She distanced herself from his issues because she does indeed understand that they were caused by her. Y'all keep on saying that it's genetics. She got 18,552 cents worth of siblings. She got 9,000 aunties, 1,600 nephews, nieces, and cousins. She got about 5 different daddies. 2 of her daddies is 2 different races. She got a white daddy and a black daddy, both named Sean Malone. Charla, how you do that? So you mean to tell me on all sides, all the mamas, some people is trying to say that the sister might be the mama and everything else. So out of all her mamas, all her godmamas, all her cousins, all her aunties, all her uncles, out of all the mental instability that has passed on, mental illnesses all throughout the generational bloodline, you mean to tell me not one other person in the family got a genetic mutation, just her child? The child that she just so happened to drink, smoke, and do drugs with, that she openly admit and encourage other young people to do it? Talking about my son don't got a disability, I didn't claim that. One thing about a disability, you know what? I don't have to go around telling people I'm a woman. You know why? Because I got big moose and big yayas speak for themselves. I don't have to go around and tell everybody that I got an extra chin. You know why? Because when I talk, my other chin responds before my mouth do. I don't have to go around and tell everybody that I got gray hair. You clearly see seasoning all throughout the strands. Chrisean. And if your child don't have disability, what are they in physical therapy for? Even though that's a lie. If that child was in physical therapy, he would have a wheelchair, his club feet would be addressed, and he would have a feeding tube. He's still on the bottle and on formula. She's confident in his growth. If she's so confident in his growth that she goes on the internet and lie at minimum once a week and pretend like he's walking, her son's talking, and her son eats. That's how confident she is in his growth. And then everybody why do you say stuff about, because... And then you know how many people I done told them that they discernment is trashy? Looks like I was accurate. It is trashy. How can you not see the demonic Jezebel from the pits of hell? A lot of people think that Jezebel is sexually orientated or affiliated. No. A Jezebel is someone that comes in a beacon of light pretending like they are God's favorite or God's chosen and anointed, but they operate in confusion and chaos. everywhere they go. There's a trail of confusion and chaos that they leave behind. Manipulation, which is, again, one of the highest forms of witchcraft. She attacked him in her womb. Her womb wasn't even a safe place for her son. Her womb wasn't even a safe place for herself. Her womb was infected. She gave birth to an infected canal, riddled with diseases. Like I said, the mortality rate for women of color, especially when pregnant, is through the roof. So then on top of that mortality rate, she adds diseases. She adds drugs. She adds alcohol. She adds sex. She adds soul ties. She adds witchcraft, which is her manipulation. She adds all of these things, all wrapped up and attached to that child spiritually. And she says that she's confident that God will, in his growth, and that God, when he's walking and talking, she's going to be sitting there like, see, I told you. But in the event that doesn't happen, then what? She's going to blame God, right? She doesn't hold any accountability, and I've been telling y'all that. She's demonic. She presents as a beacon of light. And do you know why she's so comfortable in presenting in a beacon of light? It's no different than pastors that exploit the community through tithes and offerings for their personal or financial gain. Everybody takes refuge. Demons love taking refuge in light. Cloaked in darkness. Hiding in plain sight, basically. You know why she's like that? Because when Charla, her mama, was running the streets and on rugs and doing crimes and doing this and doing that, they was drugged to church and they was told, you better not do this, you better not say this, they gonna feed you up here, da-da-da. So she's always known that when she runs into trouble, even when she has no intentions on serving God, that she was taught and groomed to take refuge in the church. Look how many predators and pedos are in her family, in her bloodline. They've all taken refuge in church. But y'all go ahead, God's favorite, Jesus wept and Kumbaya and everything else, Hakuna Matata. We shall see. Okay, so enough is enough, because I got, this is about the Chrisean Rock whole debacle or whatever. So, Chrisean, you said that you wanted to you wanted Carlissa to see how her year was going to go. And then Ronnie passed in, February of this year? Within months of you saying that, you done been kicked out of Blueface house. Well, you left. You done had 4 different men, which is multiple, 6, I think? So demonic soul ties, because every time that you have X with somebody, you are spiritually intertwined with them. You take on everything and everybody that they have, their energies, all of that. So, and what's more alarming is I'm usually warning women like, hey, do not partake or allow just any and anything inside of your womb, inside of your soul. But these men need to be watching out for you, because you are the full definition and the epitome of a succubus. You drain people spiritually of everything around them that is positive, and you suck them dry through sex, through manipulation and deception. That is very, very, very demonic. My bad, as a mother, sometimes we have to stop and pause and tend to our children. You hear that, Chrisean? So then you sitting up here talking about Lemmy and all of that from the baddies and all of this other stuff. But wasn't you just a few years ago, you were sitting up there talking about how Diddy choked him up and humiliated him? Wasn't you sitting up there humiliating Taseki only because she addressed you, talking about she sided with your husband or your boyfriend? Well, you've called him all of those titles that put your son's private areas online, when we all know you keep making it seem like his intentions were malicious. He put that online because the attention and the clout, as you say, is the only thing that moves you. It's social validation. That is what you've always seeked out. And you seek it because that African-American man, that's not your father. That is not your biological father, darling. Sean Malone and Lisa Malone, that was there when they cut your baby's umbilical cord, even though they all knew that you was passing him through a infected canal, is your biological father. And you've always lacked validation. You've always sought it as well. Then your mother, Charla, is on drugs. Then you have the nerve to tell Blueface that he mimics the behavior of his mother, but his mother is established. She's secure. You don't like Carlissa because she sees straight through you. See that discernment that you keep claiming that you had when you woke Marsh up and asked her why she was laying down? No, you told her to wake up because Saseki was getting ready to come and go upside your head. That wasn't discernment. That was the little common sense that God gave a mosquito that you decided to use and apply, because you usually don't. So you don't like Carlissa because you seen that she had enough discernment and she seen straight through you, and she was advocating against her son having a relationship with you. And you seen how much he valued his mom's opinion. You seen the relationship that he had with his mother, and you despise that. You also seen the relationship that he had with Jaden, and you desired that. You sit up here and try to attack everybody, talking about don't talk about your son or speak up on your son. Everybody is speaking up on the concerns that they have about the instability of your son. He's special needs. I have special needs people in my family. My daughter is special needs. You cannot look at her and tell that she's special needs. And I still advocate for her. Anybody that's watching this know that I'm at that school probably 3 out of 4 times a week, and she's in a special needs class. She's thriving. My daughter was born 4 months early on the laundry room floor. She was 1 pound, 0 ounces. She had 4 blood transfusions and 3 heart procedures. She's thriving. Her pictures is probably up under this video. And you sitting up here, they told me that my daughter would never walk, talk, feed herself, hold her head up, or any of that. She's past all of that. And she's on the principal's honor roll. I digress. But you are the only person that is naive to believe that you can attack, verbally assault people. You can attack Ronnie. You can attack Blueface. You can attack Carlissa physically and verbally. You can attack and assault Natalie, Taseki, Chastity, Tareen. You can do all of these things to all these people, and you're the only person that is naive to believe that you're supposed to be able to throw a rock and hide your hand and nobody's ever going to retaliate. You really went to baddies filming after you done set up here and humiliated this man publicly on platforms, talking about how P. Diddy assaulted him and humiliated him publicly behind you. Like, are you cool? Then you've been sitting up here lying, talking about my son walking, my son talking, my son eating. You won't even feed that baby. That baby is suffering from malnutrition. You sit up and you humiliate. You are the weapon that Satan formed against him. You're a manifestation of the weapon. God says no weapon formed against me shall prosper. You are the weapon that Satan used to form against Junior, but he's going to be a testimony. Him still being alive, well, and attempting to have a smile on his face every time he's on camera is a testimony in itself. In spite of you not valuing life. And we know you don't value life because you've unalived so many things that's come through your portal that was intended to reproduce life. You've eliminated it. You tried to eliminate Junior. You're upset because what was going to happen was you was going to use his demise as a way to warrant sympathy or garner sympathy from Blueface. But you never intended for that baby to still be here. Let's stop playing. We've had, because if this was under investigation and we was in a court of law, all of these allegations are actually testimonies. They will be testifying against you. And even if the evidence is circumstantial, guess what is the biggest evidence on earth? Is the fact that your baby is still alive, still trying to survive his mother. He survived your infected wound. He survived all the poison that you put inside of your womb. Then you want to keep on using SA as a way to weaponize against anybody that you feel like is on a higher pedestal than you. You tried to weaponize DV, domestic violence, against Blue and anybody else that would listen. Then you tried to weaponize violence and stuff against Ronnie, Carlissa, whoever. You always trying to be a victim. Why don't you start being a survivor? If you want your social media platform to thrive, why don't you start showing Junior really meeting milestones in real life, taking him to get help? Why don't you get yourself better? And then you're always in awe and in shock when anytime somebody clock your teeth, because you always think you 10 steps ahead. But just you being who you are alone, people already have their guards up against you, their defenses, and they waiting to clock your teeth. And you're probably trying to figure out why I'm speaking so fluently about you, sweetheart. I remember you from Oklahoma. Don't forget we went to church together. Then you talking about your daddy is Pastor Mike with his homosexual down low closet, down low super high behind. If that's your spiritual guide, or I see why you lost. But even he, with all his closetness, carries himself in a better light than you. Even Lucifer was the bearer of light. It's nothing but darkness. You can't even fool people like you good because you're so dark and demonic. Like, why do you think that people are oblivious to that? And then you talking about Zeus done turned you against, your people's against you. Zeus was not responsible for you drinking, smoking, partying, kicking it, your sexual partners, your STDs, your demonic attitude, and you being a walking storyline. If anything, they trying to help you so Junior can have a place to stay. But you need to take that into consideration and get your whole entire life together, because I wasn't even going to speak on it. But you done pissed me off as a mother and as a survivor of real life childhood essay. Like, seriously.
Y'all make sure y'all go over to her page and check out her new remix to Chrisean's song.
I don't know what I'm going to say.
And that's the take on it. If you're sipping with me, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Because over here, we sip slow and we definitely share responsibly.